Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's presentation. My name is Will Martino, and today we're going to look into the various aspects of real Qigong. Qigong is not, and yoga is not, no. Yoga means union. Qigong means union. I mean, the words mean training of energy. So I was just saying something, I don't know what it was, but it was interesting. Something
Want
about,
me to remind you?
yes. Will you just do the class?
No, you were saying the three powers pours into the three treasures. That's what you're going to go into.
So we're stuck in subject-object awareness because we're terribly afraid of each other. There's attraction and repulsion going on all the time. The third eye opening thing is very, very real. And when that opens, you quantum process, you process things super quickly because your whole body is your brain. And the way that you can have that happen is to get some intervention and to just refuse to be a teacher or a knower or a person that has a comment on any subject. If commentary or teaching happens through you, that's great. But in the meantime, I think the idea should be, how can I be a student? How can I learn from mentoring sources? What are the real mentoring sources? The ones that work for you as an individual, not a little human like me. But there's real supernatural people, you know. So if you make great contact with a place in nature that's wonderful, and you can have it in little measure with a friend, with a little teacher, you know, with a cat, with something, and you start, your body changes, your mind changes, everything changes. And now you don't perceive the world outside of yourself, you perceive the world inside of yourself. When you're really happy or you have good news or somebody gives you some great energy and clears the air, everything changes, everything measurably changes. So there's no external solution for a personal problem, and all problems are personal. How do you feel safe enough to drop your defense mechanisms and let life back in? Because this is a sea of psychic magnetism. That's what we're sitting in. And if you could be receptive, every other person's your teacher. The only person that doesn't know is you. The only person with a problem is you. Everybody else has all the answers, right? So let them have the answers. And if it agitates you or it drives you wild or they're wrong, that's discernment. That's not judgment. Judgment means you're separating from the electricity coming through the other individual. And we all do it. But it would be great to make our practice to understand how life is speaking to us through our family of origin, through this environment and these people. And you know, there's a lot of people here. Everybody's in the same place. The whole of humanity's here. So that's how you get chi power, because this is a sea of psychic magnetism. And we're trying to objectify and control and keep it out, manage it. We don't blend with it, move and shake with it. But if you're calm and you connect with the three treasures and the three powers, then life comes back in. So three powers are sky, earth, body. And that's the source, foundation, and function of Qigong, is to release your fearful clinging, your mental obsession, and to touch the sky that's above you. Remember, if you have the flowers in front of your nose, you get some invisible nourishment. Well, these trees and these mountains and this sky and these stars, all around 360 on the planet, they're all trying to come in. But you say, no, William's words aren't perfect. I'm not believing that. I would suggest that you don't pay attention to me because I'm quite imperfect. But what I do have for you is principles. When I study stuff, I go with the scriptures and the supermasters. I don't go with little mini people. So I'm developing an understanding of how it works, and then maybe someday I'll actually learn. That's why I teach. They teach because they do not know. So the principle of Qigong, because this is the forum of Qigong, right, is 3 powers. You get the texture of the sky inside of your body. You get the texture of the earth. You get the feeling of the trees. You get the feeling of flowers, the cat, the friend, and so forth. What is the sound that'll bless your ears? Write it down. Split off from your mental distraction and put on the song. What is the scent that's going to make you say, ah, okay, it's yours? See, a little human like me or little mini teachers, they always want something, right? Well, that doesn't work for you. But what will work for you is your My Favorites list. You're not going to find more enlightenment or more understanding about Chinese medicine for all the acupuncture folks than your My Favorites list. You have to accept that principle, or I hope you have to accept it. You can't wander about all the time and have no discipline whatsoever. If you're going to study any art or science, there's got to be discipline, repetition, boring repetition, right? You get a job, you go to school. What about the whole reason that you're here, which is to learn about yourself and to become enlightened, to become healed? So we've bought into the idea that I can go ABC and do what I need to do to learn the job and to wash the dishes and to do so many things, due diligence. But what about to evolve yourself? That discipline requires having a personal need. So that's the other side of the paper. I don't know this, and I'm confused here. Remember I said, did I tell you about the donuts last week? Anybody? No? I've been into donuts. That's the new thing, right? So I look at my belly and I go, donuts. And then I said last week, I don't know, teaching somewhere. It's been the thing, talking about donuts. I said, okay, well, I realized that I've been doing too many of the donuts. I'm not buying more donuts. Did I buy more donuts? The hardest thing to learn from anybody is to recognize that they have faults, because your intellect is like a razor. And all it wants to do is discard the other person, absorb some energy, take some information, dismiss them. That's why people don't have masters, real masters in their life. Because real masters have got a bodysuit. And you look at the bodysuit, you go, oh, I'm better than that. And off you go. You got to remember this quote. If you do not have mentors in your life, that means that you believe in your intellect, in your ego, that there's not one person on the entire earth that's wise enough or trustworthy enough to mentor you. Could that be possible? I found through the school of hard knocks that I better be quiet and accept somebody else's guidance. And that's leading me to do that with everybody as a principle. What is this person dismissible? You know, nobody's dismissible. So you can't get to the 3 powers of Qigong unless you drop the defense mechanisms. That's called wait see. Discernment, fighting, setting boundaries, there's nothing wrong with that. But that's different than judgment and objectification and demonization of others. You become much more able to set boundaries and make things work for yourself and your relationships with discernment instead of judgment. Big difference. Okay, 3 powers pours the 3 treasures. With the 3 powers, there's the feeling of the sky. There's the feeling of the sky with the boundary layer to stars. There's the feeling of the clouds. What about the rain that's in the clouds? What about the planets? What about different hues of blue? These are all different feelings. These are the miracle ingredients that you can receive in. And when you receive in, you're going to create a vacuum in your body mind. And when that happens, stuff's going to pop off in your life. You're going to realize that nobody likes you getting power or getting healed. But if you're going to be a good manager of it, I suppose you're allowed, you know? So you recognize that as you start to receive energy from this environment, from this field, that it creates a vacuum and that you're going to have more attraction to you. Now, we're all in shock about attraction. You know, leave me alone, right? You know, we want it to be attractive in one way or the other, and then it's the last thing we want. Bipolar. Everybody's got every darn disease there is, you know, mind, body, and soul. So if you know that as you get healed, stuff is going to pop off a little bit in your life, like if I start to relax and the cat's coming, for example, one-to-one relationship. As soon as I land, he's coming. I'm like, okay, eat me. All right, I get it. But I can manage it. You can manage it more. So you're able to receive energy if you have a protector, if you have somebody that's strong enough that'll keep the rest of the world away from you, lest get hit with a stick. And that's what a teacher's supposed to be for you. To hold the whole field of psychic magnetism back while you suck in energy and get healed. Okay? So as you connect to sky and stars and all this kind of stuff, you start to receive. You start to just receive again. That's the kiss on the forehead. The energy comes down. Two major rivers of energy in all systems, prana and upana in yoga, or the major yin river and yang river in Qigong. Yin river is tip of the tongue down the front line of the body. So what we're doing in this little talk, hopefully, is to get the energy to come down from the head into the body and to touch earth. If you can touch earth with your mind, now the yang channel begins, because just like in deep sleep, the power comes up from the earth into your body. If you have enough connectivity with sky and earth, these rivers of energy are going to begin to flow. Going to sleep and waking up, rooting and blooming. That's the main rivers of energy. If you do the my favorites list to the degree where you could surrender comfortably, you can let it in. Doesn't have to be me, but at least let it be some of my words. You're not going to get beyond the my favorites list and the stuck spot list. You're not going to discard that and discard me and get away with it. It's not happening. Because the my favorites list is your path. If you try to deny that with your intellect, it's not going to work. You know, your favorite song, your favorite teaching, your favorite Jesus, your favorite whatever, that is yours. Nothing to do with me. And then the stuck spot list. Oh, this gal did this to me. Oh, this guy did this to me. Financial concerns. Corona. World of masks for the next years, I guess. Whatever's going on. So there's needs, there's fears, and there's supports. Those two things make up your path to personal evolution. The only species that survive and thrive are those that self-reinvent. Self-reinvention's the only survival. There's no stasis. There's no, I'm going to get it and then be beyond processing and conflict. That doesn't exist. You want it to exist because you've had enough pain and bullshit. You're in shock. Everybody is, right? So you don't want to start over and again. And I'm just locked into it because I got no hope unless I keep doing that. Every morning, same thing. Hours and hours and hours and hours. 3, 4 a.m., whatever it is. Hours and hours and hours. So Whatever measure of tapping into the flow of life you do, you'll get the feeling and you'll get on that train as long as you find that you're supported. So, as a suggestion, when you're opening and closing a door, you can pay attention to sky and earth and open and closing that door with consciousness. That is an instruction. You want to be beyond instruction? I don't understand. You're my favorites list and your stuck spot list. Those are the instructors. I gave you an idea about the 10 seconds or open and close the cabinet, you know. It's a terrible submission to be a student, you know. I'm talking about myself. I'm not talking about you. I'm not trying to rope you in to be a student. That's the one thing I don't want to do, quite honestly. I don't want to listen to you and let you teach me. But as I look at each one of you, I don't seem to have a choice. I don't know about you, but that's the life I live in. And that's why I get up early, and that's why I go to bed early, and that's why I listen to this and watch that and do these things, because I don't know of any other hope to survive and maybe be able to heal somebody's life. Take somebody out of hell or pain. Isn't that the best reward you could ever have in your life, to be a friend to somebody else like that? You can't do it if you're constantly starving for energy and constantly in mental anxiety. So, you know, there's a way to break that progressively. Always exists in some measure, because the more you take on, you know, as long as you don't bring yourself more trauma, then you can take on a little more. But it works in cycles, like sleeping and waking. So you don't have to evolve or do a whole lot or anything. Just do whatever blessing you can get today. Make today about that. All right, let's go do the form. Could I pause, Master Andrea, for questions and comments?
Sure. I don't know. We have a quiet group here.
There we go. Well, I let it fly today.
I have a question.
Yes, Master.
When you talk about defensiveness,
Yeah.
would that be similar to things that make me uncomfortable? And so I like a situation would make me uncomfortable, and so I feel this sort of defensive sort of energy or this resistance. And you mentioned transparency yesterday. So is that part of the path? Is just admitting, being aware of what makes me uncomfortable and being with that instead of avoiding it or trying to resist it?
Well, you know that's true, and I don't have any solution, you know, but I want to keep on learning as a principle. If I'm agitated, why am I agitated? Not why did you agitate me? You know, and then as far as discerning the other person's behavior, that's another conversation that can be quite valid. But if I'm off balance, you know.
So I look more into myself if I'm uncomfortable in a situation instead of sort of pointing a finger at the outside.
The pointing of the finger can happen afterwards, because you do have to discern. That's like science, right? You know, we have to discern each other. There's elements in each of our behaviors that the other person should ground if we're the other person's friend at all. We should just take control and go, okay, you're grounded there. You know, you see something in me that's like that, don't give me a choice. Shut me, like Andrea, my wife does. So many people do. And I try to accept, because I can't seem to shake the reality that I'm so in process, it's silly. So it seems like my own submission, and see if this speaks to you, my own submission is actually the way to become very, very powerful and smart and stuff like that. But after I realize that I've talked about the other person, you know, after that, and then there's some kind of a problem with my own emotions or how I feel, Then I had to start over again. Did it again. You know, I had too much commentary about them, or I didn't pay attention to what their feelings were, or where they were at. And I just went on this automatic mode. It's like the cat. The cat does these things, you know, and I get upset. And my honey bunny says, honey, you know, he's a cat. And I'm like, yeah, but he pretends not to speak English and he acts like an animal, and I'm not having it. You know, and he says, and Carolina, she was there. Hi, honey. She says, yeah, but you just have to talk to him. So then I realized, okay, you know, even if I have to set a boundary, I can do that with a little more savvy if I'm not nuts. If I'm not like, you are bad and wrong. I think, I don't know if it's everybody else's problem, but sure as hell's mine. That's what I do. I just turn the attention and I say, what the hell do you know? I read 1,000 books. What the hell you talking? What the fuck? I was a monk of 3 traditions. I'll kick a MMA master's ass. What do you know? And meanwhile, how dumb do I look when I talk like that, right? Because everybody knows that the only power is some kind of coherence or something. It's not like boastfulness or whatever. So I don't know. I love authentically being an idiot, not like an act. I like showing that I actually am quite off. That's what I would suggest. I would suggest show that you're expose yourself that way, being like, I don't know how to deal with this. I'm frustrated. Either you're frustrating me or I'm frustrated by myself. I don't know. But take 100% responsibility for it and get help. The get help was my favorites list. See, the mind wants to keep rolling. It doesn't want to split time and say, okay, I'm now going to go through those 3 steps or, you know, whatever it is that you enjoy. But there's no solution. I don't have a solution. But you can reverse the search and try to pinpoint in your body where you feel uncomfortable and suffer your own exposure. That you're off balance and that this is influencing your health and this is influencing your relationship. This is influencing your ability to get along with other people and create results, because no matter what you're doing in life, it's all about relationships. But the mind wants a solution. Don't have that.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question about the stuck spot list? So that stuck spot list, is that how we're kind of removing the covering a little more from our past, from our present, from maybe our future?
Just saying that so I could talk about it.
No, I'm curious about that because it seems like it goes hand in hand with our favorites list. The stuck spot is all the crap and our favorites list is what nourishes us. So are we using them to ping pong back and forth?
Yeah, they weave back and forth. You go back and forth between 2 of them until you reach transcendence.
Okay.
Just like any skill, this is a discipline progression. And that's the part that's difficult for us to accept. So you've got something that can help you as an individual. That's a principle for you. I'm sorry that I'm the one saying it, but you could rethink it yourself. You've got something that can help you as an individual, potentially the flower, the song, my favorites list. If you're in the void of nothing can help me and I'm hopeless, I live there plenty, so don't worry about that. Just go ahead and embrace that. And what will happen is that you'll get agitated once you remove the covering to where you feel sad and depressed and hopeless. And if you don't feel sad and depressed and hopeless, give it a minute. Because everybody has this. You can't try to block it out. It's not going to work. But once you remove that covering and tell the truth that there's some kind of confusion or something's in process or you're not perfect or, You might be a lot more perfect than me, but you're still not without error. So it takes a lot of love to be able to come down from your intellect into your body and have the void of human suffering to be experienced. Once you do that, just like a plant, you naturally are going to stretch out and notice the sun coming through the window and say, hey, why isn't that part of my communication while I'm talking on this webinar, whatever you call it. And then you could enjoy that. You could enjoy the sun coming through the window, or the receptivity from the hope of having acupuncture business, you know. Negative and positive dance together as energy. That's what all energy is made of, negative and positive. That's polarity. When you go up on the mountain, you get the synthesis of the polarity and you see everything clearly. I'm asking you to join that experience of you being the secret master right in somebody else's face, and stop pretending that you're not. And develop the skill to listen and communicate that makes it coherent. So you got a secret world of mastery, you've got a secret world of coherence, you got a secret world of hell, you got all these secret worlds. Well, let everybody else see them. And then what will happen is that you'll become beyond polarity more. Because a battery is polarity, right? That's energy. Energy, looking at itself, discovers that it had been pure spirit all along. So energy in Qigong has one purpose, psychological refinement. Energy in yoga has one purpose, psychological refinement. What does psychological refinement mean? Do you have any context whatsoever of what that means? I think it means that you better admit your bullshit and your negative vibes and your bad energy. And you better realize and admit that your thoughts are not structured, are not coherent, they're not all over the place. There's not one person that doesn't apply to. So we can avoid pain and suffering by doing some of this today, by, you know, having the transmission. If your attention is such in shock that it can only analyze me, then I'm going to let you down, because you'll be able to see right through my bullshit, my holes. But don't do that with me. Rather, take the principles of what I'm talking about. Support list, catharsis list. Your own supports and your own catharsis, and make it function in such a way that it's a training. 10s, 5s, customized. All right, let's just go Qigong. You could ask me whatever on the way. I gotta unplug some stuff.
Another question.
Yes, please.
It's kind of along with Andrea's, the stuck list. It's okay if we hop around that stuck list.
Oh.
Should we keep, it's me, it's Danielle. It's okay if we hop around the stuck list, hop around, you know. I mean, there's some deeper layers that are kind of always there, but then, you know, life brings in these, it's like chronic and acute. Like there's some chronic stuff that's been here for a really long time, but the acute stuff's the daily stuff that you do the 5 and 10s that I've been doing 5 and 10s with. But should I always be working on that deeper when I'm uncovering to help the acute stuff? Does that make sense?
I don't know. There's never going to be anything we can do with our intellect to solve our problems. So the first principle, maybe you could say, is that in your training, you've got to go beyond thought. Okay, now to answer your question, you are the human genome. The human genome is being expressed through you, through your life, your history, and 1,000 generations back. Your futures are right here being patterned, all kinds of them. Who knows which way anything goes? So there's not going to be like a system exactly. There can only be, I'm moving in the direction of understanding.
Mhm.
Now I'll try again to answer your question. Yeah, you know, the levels of removing the covering is removing the covering of the human genome. So what level can you withstand without going into shock? If you take on too much, then you're just going to get beat to beat. Right, Maggie? If you try to be that for everybody, then you can't. You're going to be thumped. But we think we can be that for everybody. We like have this idea. I'm going to present myself, hold space, I'm going to teach Qigong. So the levels are just infinite. All I'm asking is to make some progress in measurable ways. This master person that we watched the other day, he said from Taoist Mountain, don't ever do anything to interrupt your harmonious breathing. I was like, wow, that's cool. So keep breathing, relax, realize that space is bigger than form. So all the thoughts that you have in your mind, we're not going to get them all right, or the behaviors, but grace is more important than law. Space is more important than form. Silence is louder than sound. So you've got to find a way to calm down. You've got to find a way that somebody cares about you. If you don't think there's one person on the earth that cares about you, then come on, you're mistaken, right? So, yeah, what else can I do? I don't know. You know, the more support, more relief. And I made it simple in terms of tens, fives, and customize, you know, how you open, close a cabinet, and the breathing, a little Qigong. We'll talk more about all these other things because the Qigong is these things, but that's the name of the program. So we got to go do it. Okay, Danielle?
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome. I try to keep it up so you don't see how messy the floor is. Oh, good vibes like that. Too many papers. Oh, it's starting to rain. That'll be good. The seedlings are not sprouting. I think we left them in the cold. We're going to start again. Okay. Now this can just distract the mind and do something. So please rise for the singing of the national anthem. And we're going to open up to the sky. Kind of cloudy today. And bring the feeling of the sky through the head, down through the body, swallow down, bring it down, touch the earth with your mind. Prayer hands. Make contact with trees and oceans and mountains. Anthony and Opinder are in Hawaii. We did a thing yesterday. I was in Hawaii virtually yesterday. And they're telling me about the mountain down there and magic Kauai. Kauai, Hawaii is like the most beautiful island, they all say. Flowers everywhere. So that helps us. Underneath here is the earth. Touch the earth. Open up. Gather in. You know, advanced meditation means going so super slow, right? If you devote yourself to slowing down, you're going to be the fastest that there is. just slow down. You want an instruction? Just slow down. Slow your roll. Like this. Trees, animals, people. Just begin to practice this belief that every single person is an expression of life. And maybe it takes you 1,000 years for your psychology to see how that's true, but at least you could start with the principle. Every event is an expression of life. Doesn't make sense with terrible events, but somehow I think there's a mystery going on. Down here. Now, your psychology, look, hear the voice change again. So as the years go on, I get quicker and quicker at being able to change myself and heal myself in less time. So that's what you got to do when you're opening and closing a cabinet. Challenge yourself. How quick can I make these changes happen? Wash the field. So between you and I and between myself and this environment, there's psychic magnetism. If I'm a servant and I just wash the field, then I get to be more spacious. When you're more spacious, you have more energy and more insight because you're more connected with other people. So you're just a toilet washer, nothing else. Everybody likes that. You're just a servant, right? So now all the people that's in your field, they give you acceptance. That's good. Just surrender yourself and be the servant. Don't protect yourself. That's not the way to protect yourself. Alexandra, you froze. You were like this. Uh-oh. Now start to go in back of you, okay? See the mountains back there? Highest mountains in North America, right in my backyard. 14ers. I think there's 10 14ers right here. There's snow on the mountains over there. The higher ones are that way. Anyway. Okay, I'm gonna watch. Keep going. Okay, sky above you, earth underneath you. That's your connection of your battery, is the sky and the earth. So if you don't see the sky and the earth in your mind, then you have no connection to power. Yeah, sky and earth. Just sky and earth and nature. Forget about the confusions with people, places, and circumstances. Just go ahead and enjoy yourself to do these funny little exercises. So the eyes have to see everything. Don't be looking around and things. When people do Tai Chi and Qigong and they're looking all over the place, that's nothing to do with Tai Chi and Qigong. You got to be in a trance. That's right, Maggie. Go ahead and receive to yourself. Slow down. Now you got to do some kind of meditative exercise. So these are just options. But if you go through the next 50 years without ever having any sort of plan, that's not going to work. So just do this one and do whatever other ones and just do something, maybe 15 minutes a day. Okay, prayer hands. Now we're going to do one finger Zen. Let the fingers open very softly and float down to the sides of your hips. And now say, Om. Open up. Down. Adjust your hips. A version of this is on the group site. You can play it. There's never going to be a perfect routine or perfect plan. Just do something every day, mind, body, and spirit, and recognize that you're going to have one goal in your routine, follow my movements, as to transcend, to experience peace of mind beyond thought. That's all. Like this, and then like this. And now feel the magnetism behind the wrist, and like this. And like this. Sun came out for us. Turn over here, drop the elbow. Together. They say it's like pulling silk from a cocoon, working with biomagnetism or Qi. Prana or Qi on a physical level is simply biomagnetism. And our thoughts and our traumas and our experiences make it all bound up. When you practice opening and closing a cabinet, and you practice sitting down and standing up with consciousness, these are ways that you can untangle those knots. 1, 2, 3. Turn it like this. Just spin your right hand around. You should feel the magnetism between your hands. With a lot of acupuncture people on the call. And you got to have that magnetism in your hand before you put that needle in. So that means connecting the sky and earth. Not just the patient and where's the point. You develop an intuitive relationship, right? This way you go out, put your hands out. And now let me see you spin that energy around, Alexandra. Just turn it around. Just be slow and careful. If you want to go faster and get more done in your life, slow down and do things more carefully. That's great, Janice. All right, sky and earth. So the eyes, if I look into your eyes, I shouldn't be able to see anything but space, because you're with the sky and the earth and you're with nature. Okay. Pushing, like pushing a car, makes the magnetism go to the muscles, but you're not using your muscles. So the magnetism goes along the nerve roots. The spinal cord is highly conductive electrical material. So is the nerve. How you become more aware of the spinal cord and the nerves. You can't with the mind's out of control. So if you have something going on with the spinal cord and the nerve, then you better calm that mind and find out what's going on in there. Make sure there's a bend in knees. That's the best hope we've got. If you're pushing a shopping cart, no muscles, but the magnetism's coming out of your hands. Let me see, pushing a shopping cart. Great. That's good, Wendy. Let me see, push a little heavier shopping cart. So the mental intention is stronger. And now more magnetism. That's good, Wendy. Anthony's got a ton of power. Opender, that's because they live on Kauai. They went there. Automatic enlightenment place, I think that one is. Can you push just a few times for me? Too much heat, Anthony, too much force. Drop the muscles, forget everything, and just go like this, really soft. Okay, and now sky and earth. So a lot of times we want to work with energy from the place of energy. No, work with the energy from spirit. They say if you have your mind on your energy, you're confused. If you have your mind on spirit, then your energy will be invincible. So don't work with energy and work with your body and work with your mind from the place inside yourself. Work with it from support. Sky and earth, the song. I remember Danielle said one time to me, living off the waterfall, remember? Something was going on. She's got a waterfall in her backyard there. And she's like, yeah, I'm just living off the waterfall. I'm like, wait, wow, I remember that. That's what I do when I connect with these guru people. I'm just like, okay, you do it. Original Tai Chi form, temple style Tai Chi form, 45 degrees at the feet. All the weight on your right foot and step out to your left. Okay. And now 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn on your right heel and your left heel 45 degrees to your left. Like this. That's like the Matrix moves, right? Okay. And now I'll go like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep doing that. Very nice. Soften your chest. Don't present with your chest in your head. Soften your chest in. Okay. Good. Okay. Start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sink on your right leg down and grab the energy ball. Tai Chi is a moving Qigong. You can't do Tai Chi without Qigong. Very cool thing in its real principles and very rarely represented in the world. You grab the energy like this. All the weight's on your right foot, so you can pick your left foot up, move it around, and you're completely solid on your right foot. Let's see who could do that. All the weight on the right foot. Calm down. Calm down. Sky and earth is your reference point. That's great, Danielle. Got it, Stacy? You froze? Okay. Back to beginning. Feet straight underneath your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the weight's on the right foot. 6. All the weight's on the left foot. 7, and that's the end of it. Go like this. Bring your hand out like this. Let me see. Don't lose yourself like over there, you know. Everything, every movement, every time you open and close a cabinet, everything is centered. You don't lead with your head. We're taught to lead with our head. That's good, Nicole. Ready? Feet straight underneath the shoulders. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. All the weight's on the left foot. Step out in front of you with the right foot. 7. Right, left hand comes down in front of your left hip. Right hand expresses itself out here. Feet underneath the shoulders. It's raining on me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the weight on the right foot, Anthony. And your weight is sunk back. So let me stand the same way you are. So you're going like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See that? That's how the most advanced movement is. 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Each element that we connected with is like a little miracle ingredient. When we have a structure or a ritual we can follow, and any skill has a structure and a ritual, we can, by choice, connect with the nourishment of the sky, the nourishment of the earth, and little by little, as we practice, the trees, the animal fur, so many things can be felt at one time so that it converges in your spine and your brain. Spine and brain is the altar of God. Andrea, where's time at? Thank you very much.
We are at 1:33.
Well,
Which is your time, which is what, 2 hours?
if anybody has to go, just go. Otherwise, I'm going to just lead the meditation now. Before that, I'm just open to questions or comments from anybody. Okay? Just relax and sit down together. And let me know anything that you might be thinking or feeling, okay?
So I'm in that place now where it kind of all hit me Friday, actually, something just sad, and I didn't know what it was. But I said, okay, I'm gonna let it unfold, and whatever it is. And like, even it's moving through, there's a part of me, like the little part of me that's just like this push and pull that's like, no, don't go there, don't go there, don't go there. And the rest of me is like, it's time, but this little voice, and it's really little, but it's screaming so loud. So all this morning, I've literally had the same 3 songs on. They're not the happiest songs, but they were playing in my head, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna honor it. This is what I need to listen to, so I'm gonna listen to it. My neighbors are probably like, give it a rest already, but that's okay. And then here we are now. And I just wanted to share that all of this today is very much on point with where I am, and it's usually really hard for me to just even speak it. So now I'm speaking it. And that's it.
Thank you. Love it.
Thanks.
You do this work that I'm doing here, it's just going to pop, believe me. And that's about the only hope we have. So let it happen.
Well, I very lovingly have nicknamed you Morpheus because unknowingly I took the red pill, and I'm glad I took the red pill.
I should pretend I'm frozen there. Yes, Julie, please.
Can I ask, could you please, the 3 steps in 5 minutes? I don't know, just speak to that a little bit.
Oh, Andrea can do that.
Okay.
I can. So it's the 3 steps of remove the covering, like, you know, the stuck list. You would go there first, and you would this is what I do, something that William taught me, is 1 minute, I set a timer, and for 1 minute, I just explore my stuck list and like feel all those feelings and ask my body, where do they sit? And then when the timer goes off, I shift to step 2, which is slowing my breath and letting my favorites list come in. So all the blessings for my senses, a smell that I like, a sound that I like. And so do that for 2 minutes, just slowing the breath. And then when that alarm goes off, then the last 2 minutes is just trying, I feel like trying. You slow your breath so much that you're finding that space of nothingness. So for me, I just continue with an affirmation, or I pray, I say a prayer to just try to connect to that sage or saint. That's my process.
All process flows along those 3 steps. everything that I'm doing, I'm trying to model what really happens so that I stay out of the equation. I'm just trying to share with you how process happens. So if you're going to do the dishes, you get ready, you take a few deep breaths. You're like, oh my gosh, there's more dishes than I want to do. And you start doing them, or homework or anything. You get into it. It's an effort. It's uncomfortable. Second part, you're slowing down. And I'll say these 3 steps. Andrea said it better than me, but I'll just put a better take on it, a different take on it, pardon me. The second part is you're slowing it down, and you're getting into the dishes, you're getting into the homework, you're getting into, I'm going to face myself as I am, as imperfect as I am. And I'm going to recognize some good things about myself, darn it. Tired of everybody telling me I'm not good enough. That's what the world does. The world's just a big pointing finger. That's what the intellect does. That's what we do to each other, and we ought to stop it. So in the second part, you just slow down. You start to accept a little grace for yourself, and you get that scent going and that sound going. Something. You try to find something. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But you just, and be time specific. Say, I'm going to do it in 5 minutes. You can do that. It can be repeated. Same thing with the homework or the dishes. You're slowing it down. You say, well, if I just relax a minute and pay attention to the water and pay attention to the dishes a little bit more, I can turn this into a rejuvenating experience. It doesn't have to be a squeezing out of energy. It can be an overflow of energy. So the more that you get to this place where that slowdown and that exposure and that nourishment happens, and you find the third step, which is embryonic breathing in Qigong. Embryonic breathing is the most advanced principle in Chinese medicine, in Qigong, in yoga. It's called Samadhi, Tibetan Buddhism, Rigpa, and science, brainwave coherence, and hormonal nectar. If I give you a check for $100,000, I guarantee you all those things are going to happen. Because that's what we want, some money. Yeah, you see what I mean? But there's more important thing. I've come from a super rich family. I can tell you that ain't it. And all the richies will tell you that. Well, maybe. But anyway, but and then I totally disappeared. And that typical story, you know. I have a penny most of my life. I can guarantee I had less money than you all did, even though you'd be like, yeah, sure, I bet you I did. And I come from that kind of family. But I totally said, what's Chi? What's God? And then my family said, oh, you're a little special, aren't you? You know. So what happens is in the third step, when you find love or you find healing or you find happiness or you find relief, if you find something that occurs for you as an individual where you can just slow your roll a little bit and relax, that one moment will cause no breath. It'll cause brainwave coherence. It'll cause hormonal nectar. After I was darn devastated in life, then I became a monk. I was a Zen monk. Then I became a yogic monk. Martial arts schools, books, and all that stuff. And now I realize that it's all in that third step from all that training and all that experience. So the first step is to remove the covering. The second step is to slow down. We're applying this to evolving ourselves, not to getting a piece of cheese. Or this is only about evolving our own self. You find so much nourishment inside of 5 minutes, you can go beyond. You can go beyond your own trauma. And mine is very extreme. And I don't want to talk about it. But just get that. It is. It's extreme enough that I don't really want to talk about it. Maybe someday. You know me well enough, you know? So the deal is, everybody has that. Nobody's special or has more trauma, whatever. But on the graph, mine's definitely off the charts. And so then from that devastation, all this search for healing, and then I found out, oh my God, I had the right idea when I was a little rich kid, and then I would go into Center City, Philadelphia on the bus at 8 years old to try to find the Kung Fu masters because I wanted something different. I didn't believe in that method that was being shown to me. Anyhow, it was a good bet. It was a good deal. So if you can slow down, stop, and reverse the search and find the ability to have one moment, like the big check, like the falling in love, the soulgasm. If you can have that one moment, you can clear the air right now in some area of your psyche that has never been cleared before. So that's the 3 steps. And you practice it in 5 minutes, then you get an idea of how to change brain waves, change breathing pattern, change pulse, change your sensory orientation, change your belief inside of 5 minutes. So now if you need more help, if you have a lot of things that you're dealing with, physical or psychological, whatever, you could stretch that out and do longer. And it's more important than sleep. So anybody?
I think I have a question. You might have just answered it, but it seems like we're talking about spiritual, mental, and emotional primarily.
Yeah.
But for me,
No.
my life's been focused on physical because of a spine injury.
Uh-huh.
So I realized after this session that my stuck list, a lot of it is physical. And my question, I guess, is that sort of the end result of the emotional and mental processes as opposed to the primary process is the physical. So it's more like the secondary reaction is the physical pain, not the source of the problem, whatever.
I love it. That's a great question. It cycles. You go down beneath the level of the senses and the intellect into the body. Then you go from the body into the emotion, intellect, senses, and into the transcendental, the sleep place. It cycles. And here's a concept that can help with physical issues. Bone marrowing. Bone marrowing means that you relax so much with your emotion and with your thought that you reach the bones to soak the bones. That you start soaking up power in your bones. You see, the intellect is sucking all the energy out of the body for everybody. And so if the intellect can calm down a little bit and you can feel, oh, look at that, I thought I sewed it. If the intellect can calm down, I got 2 new ones coming. You'll feel your body. And now can you feel your bones? Can you feel your nerve fiber? If you can do that first step, so let's take this as an example of meditation for your situation. So you want to go into the awareness of your body so that awareness is facing directly the discomfort. If you do that enough, be it whatever version for everybody, emotional, so forth, you'll breathe into it. That's much more powerful than breathing exercises. Breathing exercises are useless compared to what I'm telling you. So you're going to breathe deep because you're going to say, I can't get over this emotional whatever. My spine is broke in this area and this is not going to stop that I know of. Right? So you really face whatever sorrow is around with it and you start to breathe into it. That would be the first step for physical healing in this particular issue, okay? You with me?
Yeah, sorry, I had to go shut the door. There was a chainsaw going on there. So
okay. And you start, as you become more mystical, which you're all born mystics, you'll start to see that the outer world and the inner world is the same thing. You're sitting in a movie theater. I mean, if you don't know that the world's supernatural yet, then you don't know much and you should start learning something. So I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to everybody, myself included, or anybody that really needs to hear that. But it's very, very truly supernatural and mystical. So there's a direct relationship between your environment and what you're experiencing in your body and in your mind. And to know that more, you'll start to be able to make the outer world a little safer. So for the first step for you would be, let me feel into my body and to find out what's going on in my biological biography, including the physical injury. That's first step. Deep breathing will happen naturally because you're breathing into an issue, more powerful than breathing exercise. So try to feel that in your body now. Breathe deep. Oh, good. We're doing the meditation. Breathe deep into it. Breathe deep into it. Andrea's been doing this so long, she finally gets it. I talk forever. Nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about, but Andrea, for some reason, has been a trooper and hung in there. So you get it, right? You just take that covering off, your own stuff, your sorrow, your sadness, whatever. It's okay. I don't care what you did or what's going on. Just please, just breathe into it. Be a little humble and breathe into it for a minute. Okay, so 5 deep breaths, okay? Okay, Nicole? Don't let your head tilt back. Keep your head a little forward. Good. And let sorrow come up. God, I hope so. Okay? This is what we don't do that ruins us. Now, step 2. Start to feel into your back, feel into what's going on, and slow your process. Some people are convinced in that step 1, and they're constantly suffering with that. Some people turn that into anger. Some people turn that into depression. Some people turn that in, I'm not good enough, whatever the subconscious stuff is. Don't worry about it. Just go to step 2. Now, step 2 is, I'm fine just the way I am. I don't have to change for anybody for now. I did in step 1, but right now, I'm in step 2. I'm not processing anymore. I'm beyond relationships, body, mind, everybody else. If I'm not good enough for you, then that's, I guess, my problem, But you need to give yourself a break. So in step 2, you're going to lengthen your breath and make it so long. Now, if you want to burst out crying, go ahead. Whoever I'm talking to, But Anthony, just longer breath now. Longer breath, longer breath, longer breath. Longer breath, Kim. Longer breath. Your eyes and your intellect has to soften into receptivity. You got to accept the devil and the angels. Otherwise, you're not going to do it. You're not going to be able to calm down. Accept everything as is. Longer, 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 longer. In the mysterious teachings of all of this stuff, the devil's God wearing a mask. So your resentment and anger and fear and whatever against bad things is unfounded when it comes to these absolute deep super scriptures and principles. So we need to change things a minute. Longer, 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 longer. Longer, longer, Danielle, longer. This second step is governed by specific instructions, just like all the other stuff. Your key to creating lots of results can be this 5-minute idea. We did the first. We know what that's about. Now we're in the second. Of course, I say 5 minutes, but here it's longer, right? But for you, you look at the clock. It says 11:53 now. And as best as you can, you stay here and let whatever go. You know I'm late, but... And you slow down. Longer. We hold on to a lot of grief and a lot of negative stuff because it creates energy. It becomes an addiction. Notice the light you can see through the other side of your eyelids. That'll be a way to not get lost in thought and just to enjoy. Life is to be enjoyed. And you could do it all by yourself in your own little mind and body. You do when you go to sleep, otherwise you'd never sleep. How about to match that with your conscious mind and heal psychological issues? It's the greatest adventure it could ever go on. And it heals lots of other stuff too. Longer, longer, longer. If stuff comes up, you know, and you're processing or thinking or worrying, okay, so then do the step 1 again. But learn to make sure this step 2 happens. If you fall in love and become happy, which you all did, one time or another, those vibes in the body are accessible. That's what's called meditation. The greatest mental hygiene you could ever produce. And you want to create physical healing in your body, the best possible power is to be gained from your mind. So your best chance is that. Feel these feelings in your body. Don't be without a body and mind. That's step 3. We're not there yet. Let some smile happen to your eyes, to who you are as you are. Grace. Get the energy. Accept it in. You shut off from receiving help. The whole world's trying to help us, believe it or not. But that's step 1. It's awfully humiliating to need help, to be dependent on air and rain and water, to be a dependent, you know. We're not taught to do that. We're taught to be sovereign. Well, we're not. Let life back in on life's terms. Don't have anything to say about it. Commentary is not welcome with that. And find a pause. Natural transcendence, the soulgasm, where you go beyond everyone and everywhere and everything. Time off now for you. You get to receive special graces, all this kind of stuff in the midst of whatever traumas, okay? You can let them both function if you want. Third step is natural pauses and sighs of relief. And that's the most advanced stage of meditation, and that's the place where miracles come from. When you have a moment that's so profound, it changes brainwaves, breathing pattern, hormones, logically, that's the greatest option that you have for self-healing and self-actualization, all this stuff, right? So, third step, find a pause. And then come back to yourself and have some relief. Let your body relax. So, too long. I'm sorry for going over for some people, but
Thank you.
let's pause there. Okay. Get the idea? What do you think, Wendy? All right, I'll take it. So please say anything and then we'll go for today. You know, somebody talk to me and we'll go for today. And you crying, Opinder?
Yeah, there was some tears.
Gotta love it. Yesterday, Opinder told me that she's got 100% East Indian blood. And I've got something to tell Opinder. You ready?
Uh-huh.
I figured out the whole yogic meditation thing. All you have to do is do this like an Indian and say meditate. That's all you do. You just go meditate.
You did that very, very well.
Well, I've learned very much from many India. I'm going back to India.
Very, very good.
Okay, thank you all. We'll see you next week. Remember, 10s, 5s customized. Okay. Unless somebody has something, then we'll call it for now and we'll see you next week. Yeah? Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Aloha. God, I love that.